It's Empowered by Beauty. Marisa Faircloth. I'm Lora Songster, and we see a lot of people that are basically living on TikTok, and they're watching influencers, and the influencers will talk about tox, which is, as I understand it, a generic kind of term for a bunch of different products.
Yes. So the leader in the neurotoxin market was Botox.
Sure.
So Botox is sometimes almost used as a brand name.
Like we call Band-Aids. It's really a
Right.
bandage.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. And so sometimes people use Botox as a generic covering, and probably a more accurate way to do it is to just say tox. And that way it covers all of the brands.
Okay.
And sometimes it's because providers are using an alternate brand and maybe don't want to disclose which brand they're using. And to the clients, sometimes patients don't know there's a difference. You know, my patients are really surprised when I tell them that currently in the US market, we have 6. They may not have ever heard of any of the other options, but sometimes when they go to other practices, they might be treated with a different brand, I guess, of neurotoxin unknowingly.
So it's an umbrella term, tox,
Yes, it is.
and little subsets within that.
Exactly.
And yet you said Botox has been the leader for
Well,
how long?
it has been in the cosmetic market. It originally started as a therapeutic drug, but in the cosmetic arena, it's over 20 years now.
Is it really?
I know.
It's just part of our vocabulary now.
But you know what? That's really young in the scope of medicine because I've been practicing double that long. Botox is relatively new in the market. So prior to that, it was all surgery. There was nothing else. So we got Botox in the marketplace, like I said, a little over 20 years ago, and there wasn't a competitor for almost 10 years. You know, it was Botox alone. And then the first competitor came out. That's Dysport. Dysport is a little different product. They all have some similarity. They all relax a muscle. So, what they're doing is inhibiting your muscle from being able to contract as tightly, and that makes it soften out, and all these wrinkles magically go away. But they all have little nuances to them. Um, when Dysport came out, as with everything, you know, they want to separate themselves from Botox, and their first claim was, we're so much cheaper. So, like I always say, patients need to do their own research. They need to know what they're using, and they need to make sure that they're educated. Dysport is cheaper per unit. However, for most people, it takes 3 times as much Dysport to give you a comparable result to Botox.
So any mathematician could say that's not really great.
So they're pretty much
Yes.
equal. It is cheaper per unit, but per treatment, it may not be cheaper. It's probably pretty comparable. Both of them are going to be about the same per treatment. As a provider, I prefer using Botox because it is more concentrated. When I'm injecting you, a lot of your result is dependent upon where that product lands. That product is being absorbed into a muscle, and that muscle is being affected. So think about it like, okay, I dump a teaspoon of water on the table. I get a little tiny puddle. If I dump a cup of water on the table, that's going further. And although some providers are like, well, that's great, it's spreading all over. You know me. I'm a bit of a control freak. I want to control where that product goes.
And as the client, I want you to be a control freak.
Good. Well, then we're going to get along really well. But I want to know that that product is going where I put it. So if I'm using 3 times as much, now it has a lot more likelihood that it can spread outside of there. So I think the patients tend to get a little less consistency in their outcomes, that one time to another it may spread a little different and it may not look exactly the same, and it might even increase the likelihood that you might have an effect that you don't want to see, because it might bleed into a muscle that we didn't really intend for it to be in. So um, everything's not equal. Used correctly, you can still get some good outcomes, but I think you have a little bit more potential for negative outcomes.
Very interesting. So, Botox, Dysport. What else is out there?
Next came Xeomin.
What?
Xeomin.
Xeomin?
Xeomin
Okay.
in the marketplace. I always wonder why they name these products the way they name them. But Xeomin came out, and Xeomin decided that it would be better to remove the protein coat from the molecule. Their claim is that most people who have allergic reactions are allergic to proteins, and that is quite true. And by removing the protein, it is a purer product that has less potential for allergic reactions. I think there's validity to that. However, by removing the protein coat, you are also diminishing the longevity of the product.
Okay.
So you're sacrificing a little bit of your result for safety. I'm all for safety. So I believe we want the product that's the safest product. But in 21 years of using Botox, or almost 21 years of using Botox, I have never seen an allergic reaction.
So it's extremely rare.
Extremely rare. There are a few cases where people have reported an allergic reaction, but when we mix our neurotoxins, they come in a powdered form. All the ones in the US are in a powdered form. So we have to mix it to create a liquid in order to inject it. The only cases of potential allergic reactions were where people mixed it with something other than saline, which is salt water.
Sure.
So they mixed it with lidocaine or something else, and the likelihood is whatever reaction the patient had was probably from the lidocaine.
Somebody went rogue.
So it doesn't mean that there is never a potential of allergic reaction. There's always a potential of a reaction, but the likelihood is super low.
I mean, almost 21 years.
Yeah.
0. So.
Really, really low. So I don't think it's necessarily worth sacrificing your result. Now, if you walked in and you said, I'm allergic to air, everything I touch gives me a reaction, my response is probably going to say, I don't think you should inject anything. But for the average person that doesn't have, a plethora of allergic reactions, I don't think that any one of the neurotoxins on the market are really something that you should be concerned about an allergic reaction.
Because they go through all kinds of processes to
They
even
do.
become available.
So Botox is the most studied, but Botox currently has over 5,000 clinical trials and studies. That's a lot. They've looked at this from every which way but Sunday. So, although Xeomin is a competitor in the market, I think their major claim, although probably not wrong, isn't necessarily relevant.
It's not a concern for almost anybody.
That's what I think.
Okay.
That's what I think. The next one in the market was Jabot.
Okay.
So Jabot came out, and Jabot markets. I must say they market to the younger crowd.
Mhm.
You know, they're very hip. They have a lot of Instagram following. I think it works okay. I don't think it lasts as long. And there are some people who frankly want a product that doesn't last as long. But I'd say a majority of my patients want the longevity. You know, they don't,
Yes.
we love you coming back. But you may not want to come back and see me every 6 weeks and get treated if there's products available that might last longer. So that one didn't gain a lot of foothold. Um, there's a small following. The next one on the market was Daxify, and Daxify said we last a lot longer. Our product lasts 6 months. Well, Botox lasts 3. 6 months is phenomenal if you can get a 6-month treatment. Now we want to compare. What does that mean? You know, is it a comparable treatment? In the studies with Daxify, they use double the dose. So your treatment is a little more expensive. So you've got to factor that in. If you get a little bit more time, are you spending a comparable amount more? Or are you still saving? Because the goal for me is to find a treatment that is efficacious, gives you a good outcome. It's reproducible because it doesn't count if it's only good every 4th time.
Right.
We want you to get a good result every single time you come in, and we want good value. We would love for the product to last as long as possible. So Daxify was very intriguing in the marketplace because now we have the potential for a product that might last double. You are going to have to use twice as much product. So now you are increasing your potential for negative effects because you have twice as much liquid in there, but you're also increasing your treatment price. We didn't find that it gave that much increase in longevity. Maybe a little, but now Botox is going, wait a minute. If we double our dose, we'll probably get a longer treatment too. And so they started doing clinical trials on higher dosaging. They did clinical trials with double the dose, triple the dose, and quadruple the dose. Guess what? The higher the dose, the longer it worked.
It makes
so
sense.
There is validity to higher dose giving you better longevity. The problem is, are you getting better value? So if you're getting 3 months out of your Botox treatment and all of a sudden I go, let's double that, you aren't getting double the length.
Right.
You might gain a month, but you just paid twice as much. Is double the cost worth a month more? Most of my patients would say no. They would, unless they just don't want to come see me. Or if maybe they have tons of money and they travel all the time. And coming in is more of a hindrance than the cost of the treatment. Then it is a benefit to have a product that gives you better longevity even though it costs you more. But I would say the bulk of patients wouldn't choose that option.
If the math doesn't compute.
No. The newest one in the market is Latibo. And Latibo is a South Korean product. And South Korea is kind of into beauty right now. They have a lot dabbling in the beauty industry. All of our threads are manufactured in South Korea. So you kind of take notice of what are they doing.
Right.
this product is very new to the marketplace. We have only had it for about 2 months. In their clinical trials, they are showing that it lasts longer than Botox at comparable dose. So now, okay, we're not doubling up the dose, which is increasing the potential for negative. It is a little bit cheaper, so we're not getting a more expensive treatment to get more longevity. And we have the potential that it's going to last longer. We'll see. You know, will that product be a contender? You know, with the data that we have right now, it looks like it has a chance. And my goal again is to give my patient a treatment that gives you a good outcome that I can reproduce time after time, and it gives you good value for what you're doing. So I am one of those that when new products come out, I'm going to try it. At the very least, I'm going to say, I tried this product and I'm not using it because of this. Or I've tried this product and you know what? It is great. And we might add it to our offerings. But I think that adds value to you, because I want you to know that I'm using my clinical skill to give you the best product on the market. And I don't want you to get a good outcome once in a while. You're going to go somewhere else. You know, I want you for a long-term patient, and I want to know that I can give you the same outcome every time you come in. And there's a lot of marketing out there, and marketing markets to what people want to hear.
Yes.
I know when in the weight loss industry, everything that you eat tells you what you want to hear on the front end. You can buy gummy bears and it says fat-free. Yeah, there's no fat in it. It's all sugar. Sugar's not good for you. It doesn't say that. So I think as a clinician, I need to weed through that. And as a consumer, you're only going to see the part of it they want you to see. And what I'm going to do is try it on the back end. I'm going to see, is that really holding up to what marketing says it does? And is it really something that's better value for you?
Is it going to benefit me product-wise and look-wise and to my wallet? And for you to go through all of those processes ahead of the clients, you know what you're putting out there, and as the client, we know it's already been vetted.
My
I'm one of
poor
the best.
staff. Some of my staff I've done split-based studies on. I'm like, okay, we're going to try Botox on this half, and we're going to try this on the other half. How else will I know?
Sure.
Equal. And they're willing to let me do that. And the proof is in the pudding. You know, if I can see this is working this long and this one wears off 2 weeks later and we're taking weekly pictures, everyone's different.
Sure.
We all have a little different timeline, but it gives us an idea of, are all the advertising claims really that in practice?
You can't believe everything you hear or read, and for you to really do your due diligence on behalf of the client is so very important. So when you hear the word tox, it is the umbrella under which all of these products live.
Right. But we still need to do our research and know what you're getting. You know if you're getting the product you think you're getting, and ask the right questions, because I get people who come in and say, Botox doesn't work on me. I'm like, really? Tell me about what happened. Because maybe they didn't get Botox. Maybe they got a different product that doesn't necessarily work as well for them. or maybe the recommended dose is 20 for that area and they were given 5.
Right.
Or maybe the provider that they had incorrectly injected it and the muscle that needed to be treated didn't get any of it. So there's a lot of factors at play, and we just want our patients to be educated so they know that they get the best treatment when they seek treatment.
It's apples to apples, and once you come to Restoration Med Spa and you are injected, you know that when 3 months are up or whatever that time period is, I'm gonna get to look like that. And it's gonna be consistent, and there's
Right.
nothing wonky that's gonna happen, and that has to do with your incredible history, your education, and all your awards, as I love to say, the fact that you're an author. We're very lucky to have Marisa Faircloth here, Restoration Med Spa in Winston-Salem and in Greensboro. It's empowered by beauty. I'm Laura Songster. Thanks so much for joining us.